between Britain and the United States will be a priority when he takes office on Friday. He was speaking to the former Justice Secretary and prominent Brexit campaigner Michael Gove for The Times in his first British interview since becoming US President-elect. Here's our political correspondent Vicky Young.
Theresa May is about to tell us more about how she thinks the UK can prosper outside of the European Union. Her critics say the economy will suffer if Britain leaves the single market and is no longer able to trade freely with the EU. But the President-elect Donald Trump says he'll offer Britain a quick and fair trade deal with America within weeks of taking office, and he contrasted his approach to President Obama's.
I thought the UK was so smart in getting out. And you were there, and you guys wrote it, put it on the front page.
Yes.
Trump said that Brexit was going to happen.
Yes.
Right? And it happened.
Yes.
And that was what it was going to lose easily. You know, everybody thought I was crazy. Obama said they'll go to the back of the line, meaning if it does happen. And then he had to retract. That was a bad statement.
And now we're at the front of the queue.
I think you're doing great.
Yeah.
I think it's going great.
Mr. Trump said his team would work very hard to get a trade deal done quickly and done properly, and it would be good for both sides. He also predicted that other countries would leave the EU, claiming it had been deeply damaged by the migration crisis.
Countries want their own identity, and the UK wanted its own identity. But I do believe this: if they hadn't been forced to take in all of the refugees, so many, with all the problems that it entails, I think that you wouldn't have a Brexit.
Mr. Trump's offer of a rapid trade deal is a boost to the Prime Minister, who insists Britain remains open for business. And the President-elect said the two leaders will meet right after he gets to the White House. Vicky Young, BBC News.
Well, let's talk to Norman, who's at Westminster. This is great news for Theresa May, isn't it?
Yeah, if you are going into negotiations, then boy, oh boy, you want the most powerful man in the world on your side. And that seems to be where the Donald is, because in this interview, basically, he signals he's pro-Brexit, he's pro-Britain, and he's pro-giving us a fast trade deal. On Brexit, for example, he says he thinks it's good for us. He thinks our economy will benefit. He shares many of the sentiments behind Brexit. He says his election as president, that kind of mirrors the mood of change that there's been in Britain. He's also pretty scathing about the EU and how bureaucratic it is. He cites an example where he tried to build a property development in Ireland but gave up because of EU regulations. He says that the refugee crisis and immigration has fueled this desire for national identity. But by and large, this will be music to the ears of the Brexiteers. Certainly was to Boris Johnson when he was arriving in Brussels this morning. Have a look.
I think it's very good news that the United States of America wants to do a good free trade deal with us and wants to do it very fast. And it's great to hear that from President-elect Donald Trump. Clearly, it'll have to be a deal that's very much in the interests of both sides, but I have no doubt that it will be. Thank you.
However, a dose of cold water is nevertheless required, Vic, because although Mr. Trump may promise a fast trade deal, we've got to be honest here. This is a new president. He's got a lot of other things to deal with. Is he really going to focus on a trade deal with little old Britain? Well, it's probably not going to be top of his list of priorities. The other thing is trade deals are ferociously complex, added to which we don't really have any trade negotiators, or not many, because by and large we've relied on the EU to do our negotiating. So getting a good deal with America may be extraordinarily difficult, and yes, that may take time, even though the Donald says he wants to do it quickly. Lastly, just a sort of douche of reality. If you look at the pound today, still being hit hard. It hit a 3-month low against the dollar and a 2-month low against the euro ahead of that crucial speech by Theresa May tomorrow, amid all sorts of talk about how she's actually going to push for what many people are categorising as a hard Brexit.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you.
We will make America great again.